Drums, please.
H-I-L-L-Y, North, West, South, West, Side, right, H-I-Y, yeah, now here it is.
Hey everybody, C-Note here, and welcome to the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. This is your host, Mr. Christian Rivera, bringing you the show that is like most of the songs in the holiday season, pretty creepy. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about taking a mental health day. What does that mean? And how can you do it? The tricky part is that we have busy lives. We have things that we need to do. We have to get up and do them regardless. Kids are bugging us in the morning, or we have to go to work, or we have to go handle personal responsibilities, go to the DMV and get things done. But if you are having the worst possible day, what things can you do in the midst of your day that will allow you to feel as though you can take little mental health breaks, as it were? And this isn't exclusive to anyone who has suffered from mental illness. This could be just generalized stress or anxiety. I would say that I am speaking to people who have mental health difficulties, because that's where I have personal experience in. But ultimately, the idea is to just give you some tools to be able to take little breaks throughout the day to recollect yourself and to push through without actually having to push through, actually taking breaks for yourself. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, so I hope you guys are doing well. For those of you new to the station, I will occasionally talk about mental health stuff. Not really occasionally, probably more than anything, because with business, mindset is probably the most important thing that you have. Your focus, your energy, your ability to operate and to complete your work is paramount when it comes to mental health. And when I talk about mental health, the thing that we need to break in terms of the stigma is realizing that everybody needs to take care of their mental health the same way that you go to the gym or don't go to the gym. You feel it when you don't go to the gym, right? So it's the same way when you don't work out your brain, when you don't practice any kind of mindfulness. And I don't mean meditation. That doesn't necessarily mean that has to be that, but, taking time, whatever your version of that is, because it is different for everybody, whether that's going for a walk and listening to music, or listening to your favorite album or something from when you were a teenager and brings you some sort of nostalgic joy. Maybe that's playing video games for you, or playing with your kids or something. I don't know, whatever it is that turns off stress for you, that is really where it is, and brings you some sense of joy for a little while. And I'm not talking about like drugs. That's not good either. A healthy thing that you can do to take care of yourself. It's really, it's self-maintenance. It's self-care. It's not just about recovering from poor mental health. It's maintaining good health. It's making sure that you can retain focus and keep moving forward. That's where it's at. And I talk about it a lot because it's affected me throughout my life. Again, if you're new, I've been suffering from what I think is bipolar depression, like a lower form of it called cyclothymia. It hasn't been officially diagnosed, though my therapist suggested that cyclothymia is probably the thing, which is more of like a cyclical mood swing sort of thing. Think of a menstrual cycle, but maybe more erratic, and without the, but like from a mood perspective, not like actual, physical things going on. It's more like just, it could be caused by triggers. It could be caused by my environment. It could just be time for the next thing to come, the next part of the cycle to come. And it's a bit erratic, so it could happen over the course of a day, a week, a month, whatever. So for me, it is extra important to like build a routine and to take care of myself. I haven't been taking care of myself physically, which needs to change, so that I can, taking care of yourself physically is part of your mental health. It's part of making sure that you're getting good blood flow. I didn't realize that. never mind. Good blood flow to your brain, and that you can operate at a normal flow. I'm just like totally thrown off by that. And get yourself into situations that make you feel good. So the next thing I'm going to read is I'm going to read something from it's an article somebody wrote on themighty.com, which is basically a blog site, but it's got a bunch of tweets from people, or basically things that people use or do to maintain mental health or take a mental health break throughout their day that allows them to continue to move on. And I think it's important to share. So here comes.
If you've been dying to start that podcast about doves, or about your favorite jacket, or about a long-lost love, or a murder mystery about a cat who murdered everybody, you can start it now on Spotify for podcasters. I've been on Anchor for a long time, and now it is officially Spotify for podcasters, and it has been a platform that has been growing for forever. And I love it, and I still use it to this day, and it has hosted this podcast for 500 plus episodes now. So I highly recommend it. It is free to use. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm literally on my bed recording on my, the phone is on the bed, and I'm just talking, and it's not that complicated. And then you can distribute your podcast on Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. So video podcasts are available too if you want to show your pretty face and have people see you. And you can do all that too. So just do it. It's totally free. No catch. Give it a try. Spotify for podcasters. Let's go.
Okay, so this article is titled 31 Ways to Take Care of Yourself If You Can't Afford a Mental Health Day. This website had a pop-up. First of all, if your website that has a pop-up, you're kind of a jerk, so you should probably fix that. So I'll just read it all the way through. Some days feel heavier than others when you're struggling with mental illness, but even on the most difficult days, we are often still expected to show up to life, to work or school, to fulfill our responsibilities. That is why we asked our mighty mental health community to share with us some free or inexpensive ways to take care of yourself if you can't always afford to take a mental health day. When school and work and responsibilities and money hold us back, that's a bad sentence, you're a professional writer, hold us back from taking the full day or days, we might need to recenter and reground. Small things throughout the day can help. Here's what they had to say. So I'm going to read a bunch of these, and it might take more than one segment, but here we go. Here's what they had to say. Number 1, I like to take the long way home sometimes just to get a few minutes to be alone with my thoughts because I'm constantly doing things for other people, and sometimes just the quiet is nice. Or I'll walk to where I parked my car instead of just taking the train, just to get a little bit more activity, and burning off some nervous energy helps. Laura G. So, this is particular to any person, but if you have opportunities to take the long way home or to take a walk instead, that's a good way to get the blood flow going. And and the other interesting thing here is I'm not going to do commentary for all of them, but since she works with people all the time, that contrast is really nice too. So I mean, maybe if you're someone that works alone all the time like me, getting some people time is nice, because as much as you're an introvert possibly, we all need social interaction. It's just part of the human DNA. Okay, number 2, sometimes I make a list of all my worries and then crumple it and throw it away. I'll treat myself to something small like a coffee or something sweet and text somebody I love. So writing things down is really good too, or speaking on a podcast. Number 3, I use my break as a literal break from people. I find a quiet room and listen to music to recenter myself. I listen to albums all the time and music, even when I am by myself. I like going for a walk and listening to music. Swinging on a swing set and closing my eyes and pretending like I'm flying. Well, that's cute. Hug someone, something, a person, a pet, a stuffed animal, a pillow, whatever you feel the most comfortable with might help you feel more connected to the real world. Just don't squeeze your pet. That's weird. They don't really like it as much as you think they do. Number 6, using the pad of your thumb, press it into the creases of your ear, moving it around to give yourself an ear massage. Tap using pressure just under your collarbone and huff out from your belly. Repeat an affirmation in between the huff. That could be, That's kind of like, I feel like that's a version of like when kids hang up upside down on the couch. Like, I'm sure there's some part of them that like feels good doing that. So you like, just, I don't know, find some weird physical thing that feels good. A massage, a position, a movement, stretching your back, cracking your back. Sometimes putting your arms above your head will just help with blood flow, and you'll get kind of like a nice little jolt of energy. I do that sometimes. Number 7, I have a Pinterest board titled Better Day with funny memes, cute animals, and anything that puts a smile on my face. Sometimes if you have a good Facebook community, you could do that too, where you're just kind of like, hey guys, I'm having a bad day, give me some memes. Number 8, take 10 minutes away from everyone. Go somewhere quiet, do some deep breathing, and repeat a mantra or two. So if you're into the mindfulness thing and doing like meditation and stuff, that's really good too. I'm not that kind of person, but if you have that, I think that's important. I made a playlist of all my favorite songs. Listening to it alters my mood, even if it's just for a couple of hours. And yeah, that's a couple of hours is like a win. That's really good. While recovering from a suicide attempt and living in a community residence, I taught myself to play the ukulele. 3 years later, I still break it out if I'm having a tough day. Yeah, an instrument is really nice. Like I play music all the time as a method of therapy, or I do improv. And, playing music is like, once you really get into it, you can't help but be in a mindfulness state. And sometimes that is considered mindfulness too, like giving yourself something you can focus on. Number 11, I usually read self-care books and books about my disorder. It's like having a therapist right next to you to give you tips and tricks to manage your disorder. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it makes you feel weird if you dive too deep into like looking into mental health stuff, like while you're dealing with negative depression. But sometimes it's good. Sometimes it gives you another thing to focus on. And we'll do one more. Look at cute videos of cats on YouTube, or dogs or birds, whatever your preference is. But cute animals always give me that warm and fuzzy feeling people need, like a hug. And, if you're an animal person, that's your jam. We'll keep reading more in a second. All right, so we are on number 13, music and reorganizing things. It helps me calm down and refocus and channel my bad mental health day into something productive. And then when I feel like I've done something productive, I feel a lot better about myself. I find it particularly helpful when I'm having a lot of anxiety, because it helps refocus that anxious energy into something else. Or when I feel a manic episode coming on and I know that the energy needs to get released, it helps me focus so that I don't go on a spending spree. That's a good way to put it, because I do that all the time, the manic spending spree, or doing anything that's like undisciplined. And focusing that on anxiety, like sometimes you're so focused on like you're trying to do one particular thing and you get stuck. Sometimes shifting gears and doing something else will kind of allow you to get that win, to feel like you've done something productive. That will give you that endorphin boost to go and do the next thing, or even come back to the thing you were trying to do before and kill it. Number 14, I just let myself take a little extra time in the mornings to sit and breathe. It helps calm me down and relax. Then I go through the morning routine. Once I mindlessly get into my routine, it's easier to just get it done. And it's important to give yourself a morning routine where it is automatic. You're not trying to be like, where's my hairbrush? Where's this? Where's that? You have things kind of in place and you know where to find them, and it's kind of quick and easy to just get into a zone and, start taking care of yourself. I did that this morning, where I trimmed my beard, I shaved a little bit, and just kind of cleaned up, and, took my time to brush my teeth. I have a mechanical toothbrush now, so I have to take a little longer to brush my teeth, which is nice, actually. It's something that forces me to slow down when I'm going too fast. Sometimes my morning routine, when I'm going too fast, it's like those guys at a stoplight that you're at the stoplight together, and then they rush or they try to cut you off, and then you end up meeting them again at the next light. It's like there's no reason for you to go super fast. Number 15, I keep quotes or funny images on my phone, and I scroll through them every time I have a second to keep my thoughts calm. It's good. Keep surrounding yourself with positive things. Sometimes we scroll Facebook or news sites and we're just riddled with bad news. We need to have places where we can get good things and put that in our brains. Number 16, when I'm at school, I take frequent bathroom breaks, quote unquote, to give me a second to walk around and recollect my thoughts. This is especially useful if you're an extreme introvert and you don't like being around people, or being in class is difficult. I had a difficult time just being in class. I would always be at the back end of the class, and not want to deal with any of that stuff, any people. Or I just always feel like I was being watched or something. Number 17, I usually take frequent breaks at work, not getting up or moving around breaks, just quietly listening at my desk without actively working. I make a cup of tea and do some deep breathing exercises, especially if I'm particularly anxious that day. Yeah, I think it's realistic to expect that if you're at work, like, take breaks. Like, part of being a professional is knowing when to take breaks, to be able to listen to yourself and know when you're, like, too anxious. Like, we're not built to sit around all day. That's just it's not our natural speed. We have to kind of separate ourselves physically, like our primal selves, from the modern world sometimes, and realize that we need to get up and move around and take breaks, and we're not meant to stare at a screen all day. Speaking of which, I have to turn down my brightness because it's too much. Number 18, I go for walks because being active is good for the brain, and taking some time to take a relaxing stroll and get out is therapeutic. Yeah, and experience nature, look at the trees and, like, look at the position of the sun in the sky and find interesting spots. Go take take photos or something. Sometimes that can help you too. Number 19, I like to sit and listen or watch my favorite comedians and cook myself a meal. Sometimes just pick up a paintbrush, pick some colors, and paint away. Painting is good. I love stand-up comedy, so that always puts me in a good mood. And I'm not much of a cook, but when I do get into a zone and I know what I'm doing, it can be a bit cathartic. Like, I can understand why people really love cooking. I don't, but I can understand why people get into that. I'll do one more real quick. Number 20, give myself permission to do what feels good. Go out to lunch, get M&Ms from the vending machine. Don't get M&Ms from the vending machine. Wear my favorite perfume or oil. Wear my softest sweater. Listen to my favorite songs. Treat yourself, essentially. M&Ms are not good for you, so probably don't do that. But go out to lunch, wear something nice, feel good. All right, number 21, take a shower, paint your toenails, read a book, watch your favorite movie, wash your face, play your favorite music. Set time aside to make yourself feel valued. Do something that makes you feel good or happy. The value is important. Like, something like taking a shower will kind of make you feel shiny and new. Sometimes wear something a little bit extra. Reading your favorite book or movie, or watching a movie, even washing your face is like a simple action that can kind of refresh you for just a little bit. Those little things are really important. Number 22, nature. I love the forest. It's a nice way to escape reality into actual reality. Even better when someone you love is by your side. Yeah, go for a walk and, again, enjoy the trees and the way things feel. Like, get in tune with nature. Get some vitamin D on your face. Pause. Number 23, Dr. Teal's Epsom salts. I like lavender. Even if baths freak you out, soaking your hands. Do baths freak people out? I guess they could. If you've watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I could see why baths would freak you out. Even if bath freaks you out, soaking your hands, feet is still great. The scent and the warm water help bring my mind back to reality. Yeah, those are nice. It's another version of meditating, I would say. Number 24, I jot down my anxious thoughts in the notes in my phone or in my journal app. I write down what I'm feeling because it provides me with some kind of release of the feelings. I don't have my phone. Obviously, pen and paper works just fine. Just, again, writing it down, getting it down, even just speaking like an audio log or something, or, having someone to talk to, just getting your actual thoughts out there, not your filtered pretend thoughts, like what you're really thinking. Get it out there in a blog, or just write it, without any intended purpose. Just start going. Number 25, I ended up getting a Movie Pass account. Spend $10 a month to be able to watch a free movie every day. As weird as it sounds, it's helped me a lot because it's a free escape on days when I'm feeling down or just need to get away without spending a ton of money. I need to get on that. I've heard about that Movie Pass thing. I gotta see what that's all about. I like going to the movies by myself. I know a lot of people are weird about it, or going out to eat by themselves. Like, no, it's great. It's like treating yourself. It's the same thing as like going on a spa day. Like, that's no different. It's totally fantastic. Especially these days with like the bigger reclining seats. Like, you're not next to someone so blatant, so obviously anymore. So, you've got some room to feel like you're there by yourself. 26, honestly, take a nap. Sometimes you just need to turn off and drift away from the world and its people for an hour. If you're capable of napping and you have the time to nap, by all means. I don't think I've napped in years. I'm not good at sleeping during the day. 27, I make myself unreachable. No mobile phone, no laptop, no SMS, no email, no social media, no visitors at my house. I don't attend any events or meet up with any people. I just stay at home and chill with me, eat, watch DVDs, listen to uplifting music, sleep. Those are great on the weekends. Maybe not something you can do during the weekday. That's pretty much taking a full mental day off. But, another thing you could do is like, for your morning routine, just stay away from your phone, maybe use it as your alarm and then turn it off. Don't take it into the bathroom with you. And just keep yourself focused on you for like the half an hour to an hour or however long it takes you to get ready in the morning. Like that's your time for you and you can disconnect that way. And most of the time, most things can wait. You don't need to answer people right away. Like my dad was just sent a question mark text message, like he needed me to respond to something. And I said, I'll get back to you in a minute. Number 28, I write everything in my diary and it does help me a lot. Coloring also helps. Yeah, those are like cathartic things, Sometimes cleaning is a very cathartic thing too. Number 29, when I'm short on cash and time, I try to sit outside and watch clouds, notice the smell of the air, watch birds or squirrels, just something to give my mind a break from the constant dark thoughts and stress. You don't need to be short on cash to do that. Just do that whenever you want, Number 30, I keep a yoga mat in my office. When I need a break, I put on my phone on Do Not Disturb, inform my coworkers I'm taking a 5 to 15 minute break, turn off the lights and stretch or just relax quietly. I also keep Rescue Remedy essential oils and a diffuser on hand. I don't really know what the stuff with that essential oil thing is, but whatever. Everybody's got their thing, so enjoy it. 31, my ESA dog Chubbs. He has been with me through everything. Just hanging out with him and loving him calms me down immensely. Couldn't do it without him. I'm a little jealous of people who can be dog people because I don't get that from them, but whatever. All right, and lastly, one big tip, which is just going to be mine. This is stuff that I do. The number one thing that I do is I leave my phone on silent all day long, all day. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of you, but I am not a slave to anything. So I make sure that I'm not being distracted or disrupted by the buzzes of the phone. Try it for a few days. If you just put it on silent for a few days and then put it back on vibrate and you realize how disruptive and intrusive it really is to get vibrations throughout the day. It's like you're being trained like a dog to, get a treat or to look at something on command. And that's just a really weird feeling after a while. So I keep my phone on silent. Worst case is I miss a phone call and I can call back. If it's important, they'll leave a voicemail. Most people will text me these days and I'm making the decision to respond back to them when I want to. And I know that's a mindset shift for people because many of us are codependent and we realize that we feel that we need to respond to people right away or that we need to uphold certain social standards by being available every second of every day. I hear people they're like, oh, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because somebody called me. Why is your phone on? Why is it on any kind of mode where you could hear it? Unless you're awaiting some emergency, you should not have your phone on. That you're doing that to yourself, and that needs to stop. So I highly suggest that. Just put your phone on silent throughout the day, especially when you're working. If you're trying to focus on something on your laptop or whatever, put your phone on silent, put it on your desk face down, or if you want to be able to, see if someone's calling, just put it face up on your desk, and then when someone calls, the screen will light up. But you don't have to respond to every Twitter notification or everything, or just go through your individual apps and turn off notifications. But I find that just putting it on silent or do not disturb, not do not disturb, but just put it on silent is the best way to just kind of mitigate those distractions and disruptions because those shifts in mood, especially for someone like me, like I said, someone with cyclothymia, which is low-grade bipolar disorder, anything could trigger a shift in mood. So I can get a notification from my ex-wife or get some sort of news notification, and that could shift my day. And I don't want to have to deal with those things when I'm not ready to deal with them. You know, if I'm in a situation where and you're essentially choosing when to check the notifications on your phone, you know? So you could set an alarm and just check it every half an hour instead of looking at it every 2 seconds. I think our phones are a big part of a lot of the anxiety that we experience, because it's tied to a lot of social stigma and expectations that people don't voice properly. And that we feel like we have to give more socially than we really have to, and be at the beck and call of other people, and that's just not true. You don't necessarily have to do that. So I would suggest that. That's my big tip. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb or silent throughout the day, especially if you're working, so that you can get those, you can focus on what's in front of you, because part of mindfulness and taking care of your mental health is being present. And if your brain is scattered, if you're dealing with multiple things at once, then you can't really focus on giving yourself the best mental focus that you can. I hope that makes sense. So give it a try. I would love to hear if you give this a try and put your phone on silent for a few days and then take it off of silent and feel the difference. Just trust yourself. Listen to your brain and how it's reacting, and just kind of conduct a scientific experiment on yourself, and then report back to me and let me know how it is, because I will assure you, you will feel 1,000 times better. Like that, and texting while driving are things that when I stop doing those things, or when I have my phone more of eye level now, when I put it lower than that, you realize how dangerous it is and how terrible it is. So, conduct those little experiments on yourself and see what feels good, and stick with that. And, continue to strive to be better, because you can be better. I believe in you. Bonus tip, also related to your phone, to give yourself one of those, either I know the iPhone has it built in these days. I think a lot of phones have it built in these days to be able to lower the amount of blue light on your phone, especially as it gets later in the day. I use an app called Twilight, which gives me more control over it. But essentially you change the temperature of your phone screen to reduce eye strain. And now for me, I have glasses, and it's additional issues with that. But for me, if I'm looking at my phone and straining my eyes or focusing in and out too much, I start to get headaches, and that starts to affect my day as well. So, basically, if you're aware of anything that might give you any kind of negative effects as well, like looking at your phone too much, not cleaning your glasses, if you have to deal with a certain type of coworker, or you have the opportunity to avoid a certain type of coworker, then do so. Avoid the bad things as well, especially on those difficult mental health days, or find long-term solutions. Don't always just put a patch on something. Try to find ways to adjust your environment to allow for greater change, so that you're not affected by that day by day. One big thing for me at office buildings is the fluorescent lighting, and that's why that's part of the reason why I try to move up the ranks at businesses, because then I can have an office and I can turn off the lights. That's all I want. That's the only reason I would want to move up the ranks at a business, so I can have an office and turn off the lights, because the fluorescent lighting in the middle of a floor is always the worst. Like right now, there's no lights on in the apartment. I have a window open with some natural light, and that's it. And it feels really good. Too much of that artificial lighting, whether it's from your phone or from fluorescent lighting, it's the worst. My eyes have always been sensitive to light, so it gives me a headache pretty badly, but it might be different for people, but for me, fluorescent lights are effing terrible, and I just, ugh. So little things like that, if you can make changes in your environment, you know, I never liked being around dogs. Sorry, dog people, but living or sharing an environment with dogs was always a problem. I had a previous job, and it was my fault for not voicing it. I had a previous job where people would bring their dogs to the office, and the dogs would bark at new people, or I would walk by an office and the dogs would bark at me, and it would affect me negatively. And I never told them, and I should have told them. It wasn't a day-to-day thing because I wasn't at the office every day, and maybe I didn't feel like my point was valid because I was only there once a week. But you know, I should have voiced my opinion, and that's important too. You know, you got to speak up when you want something to change, when you want something better in your life. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and I'm sure they would have accommodated me or found some way to do that. It was not good. I didn't like it, and it affected my work and ultimately led to me not being there anymore. So make the changes in your environment that you need to, and allow yourself to feel better. So I hope you guys have a good day. Okay, bye.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you guys for listening to the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. If you would like to go to HiMyNameIsChristian.com, you can sign up for my newsletter where you'll get the written version of the podcast, and follow me on Rival My Design on all the social channels and all that good stuff. We can chat and have ourselves a jolly good time wherever it is that I am. So I really appreciate it. And thank you guys. I hope you have a good one.